about assholes again.
Yeah, and it's like,
Well,
wait, what was that?
I hit the record button as soon as you mentioned assholes. So the first thing that people are going to hear is assholes.
Assholes.
You know what I was told recently?
What?
That I sound very gay when someone listened to this podcast. No, it's not a bit.
This is not a bit? I thought this was a bit.
This is real. Someone I know listened to the podcast recently, and he said, yeah, gay.
Gay?
Like, yeah, you
gay.
You sound gay. And I was like...
You sound gay.
And I was like, okay. So now I guess I'm gonna have to not sound gay in this episode.
You know what's funny?
Impossible.
When we did the live episode, the MagFest on the scene episode, you were like, "Oh, I sound really gay as well."
Yeah, that's the one he listened to.
Oh, good. Oh,
I
good.
thought when you were doing this, Pat, you were gonna say, "Yeah, someone listened to it. It was me," and I thought I sounded gay.
No, I mean I do think I sound gay, but no, a new person listened to it and was like, "Yeah, you sound gay." And then my friend Julian was like, "Oh, you have a podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, listen to it." And for those who listen to the podcast will know that Julian is the person whose boyfriend's bathroom I threw up in. So if he listens to the podcast and gets to the episode, can't wait for that.
Wow! Oh my god! I loved that whole clip. I'm sorry. That was an amazing clip. If you explaining that story.
So then he gets to hear your confession. Too.
Yeah.
And then he'll kill you probably. I don't know.
He's so tiny he can't kill me. He's pretty tiny.
You mean like physically or
no? I think his dick is probably fine. I've never seen it, but physically he's on the smaller side. So I'm assuming he wouldn't put up much of a fight.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the What Did the Gays Think podcast. I am Matt Klubeck, and today with me, I have my bandana beauty, Pat. How you doing, Pat?
Bandana.
Nice.
Ooh, I love that. Would be like my that'd be my saloon name in like the Wild West. I'd run the whorehouse and be like, "That's Bandana Beauty over there," and I'd be like, buck some tits out at the bar, like, "You want one of my girls? You gotta pay the price."
Ooh.
I love that. In my head, it was actually like a glow style WWE wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Like getting oiled up to wrestle men.
That would be my female wrestling persona.
Sure.
Right.
I'm fine.
Now, would your little wrestling onesie slinglet thing, would it be assless? So that your ass was just out, do you think?
No. I don't think they normally do that.
Jackie's like, damn
Well, this
it.
wouldn't be normal.
Damn it.
So
if I'm there, it's not normal.
Literally, if you're there, it's not going to be normal. So I don't know why you would pass on that opportunity to just be cheeks out.
Anyway, we're joined today.
Yes, today with us, we also have the amazing superstar, Jackie. How you doing, Jackie?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm living for the whatever conversation we're having. Pat out with his ass.
Ass out.
Bare ass just out.
It's ass out wrestling. Yeah.
I mean, I would have a bandana covering it, obviously. That's the whole thing.
Oh, right. So,
right. You have to grab the bandana.
The other guy has to grab it with his teeth.
Oh, it's like flag football, but like...
Yeah.
You ever play flag football? It's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god, wow.
That's what we're talking about today, right? Flag football?
Flag football, yeah, that's the topic of today's episode.
Yeah,
no.
These facts, we're not talking about sports.
We're all these facts talking about football sports. Yep.
So anyway, I also love that for season 2, this is the second episode of season 2. In the first episode, we were like, we're probably going to do some smaller topics for this season. And then this episode that we're doing is just going to be one topic. So we basically just,
We did say that sometimes we would talk about, if we were very interested in something, one thing, so...
Yeah, this is going to be one of those episodes where we just talk about one topic. And that topic is the Netflix show... It's just on Netflix, right? I think it's just on Netflix. The Netflix show Arcane. Who wants to start?
I'm the only one who came prepared, apparently, because you were like, what are we talking about?
I just introduced the topic. What do you mean?
No,
what are we
as in, like,
about?
you asked how are we going to discuss it.
Before we started recording, you were like, does anyone have any notes?
Listen, I am the editor, the content, manager. Yeah. I don't prepare notes.
The content manager.
I see.
Editor in queef.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it.
Editor in queef.
Editor in Queef.
Has anyone here played, because it's based on League of Legends, obviously, and Riot's sort of cinematic universe with those characters. So has anyone had any experience with any of Riot's games, such as League of Legends, or anything related to it?
No, but Valorant is not set in... Valorant's a Riot game, but it's not set in the same universe, right? Okay. Didn't know.
Matt?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Riot games, then yes, I have played Valorant.
In the League of Legends cinematic universe.
Okay.
I literally just asked that.
We just went over that.
I know, but I heard Pat's question. It was like, have you guys played any of the Riot games? I was like, yeah. And that's where my mind went. Anyway. Yes, so no, I have not played League of Legends at all. I have heard, I don't want to say horror stories, but like stories where some people who play League of Legends get really, really into it, and it's kind of addictive, is what I've heard in some circles.
98% of the players who I know who play WoW are horror stories.
Oh, wow. Oh, same thing for WoW?
Yeah. I mean, any community of gamers, you'll probably... Overwatch, we know someone who's very addicted to Overwatch. We won't say his name.
Oh! I've
keep him anonymous.
So, unlike Overwatch, which can be very addicting, where WoW people have, like, peed in bottles.
Oh! Yeah.
To not miss their... Like,
that's what Matt's got right now.
Yeah, this is my piss bottle that I'm drinking out of right now.
And the Brita just filters it right back.
I gotta keep my mouth moist.
How's your listenership with that kind of content?
It's doing well.
Actually, when he started peeing in bottles, the viewership went up.
Skyrocketed.
Specifically when I started posting about it on Twitter. Hey guys, here's my piss bottle.
Hey, I did say Matt had a piss skink in Diablo 2, so...
Wow. Oh, that's where we're going with this. Okay.
Anyway, all right. So none of us had really, because I didn't have a lot of, besides Kel, who plays League of Legends, I had no idea about anything. So, excuse me. I saw the trailer for it. Did anyone see the trailer prior to release, or they were like?
No, I did not.
You know, I forget if I did. I've mentioned this with movies. I usually try not to see trailers. I might have seen the trailer for this.
Okay, so when I saw it, I was like, okay, that looks fun. I like the animation style. And then it came out, and I binged it very quickly. So did Jackie, I think. It was Matt who kind of took a month to watch 9 episodes of content,
so that we could record
enough.
This
so we could have this right on time, too, because it's still a hot topic.
Okay,
right?
drag your balls across my face.
Anyway,
just continue.
Hey, they're shaved and they have ball deodorant on, so they probably smell real good right now.
Sponsored by Manscaped.
We're not sponsored by Manscaped. We're not sponsored by Manscaped. I just want to make that clear.
We want to make that very clear. Legally, we are not, but you could be.
We're trying.
So this show is based on, obviously, League of Legends characters and the property therein, the plot, because League of Legends apparently has a plot. I didn't know.
I had no idea.
And it was a very well-received show critically across all aspects of the show: animation, voice acting, plot, character development, everything. So I thought we would just go kind of in that order, or in some kind of, order like that. So first things first is the animation style, because that's the first thing you see. What did you think about it in terms of as an animated show in general, but also as an animated show on Netflix compared to other animated shows on Netflix? Because there's a whole swath of them ranging from all different types of animation. Like we've talked about She-Ra before, which is 2D animation. And we've also talked about Castlevania, which is also 2D animation. But even those are drastically different. So what do you think of the animation itself and how it compared to other properties on Netflix? Jackie?
Oh, well, I think that the animators just put their whole pussies into the animation
Both
style.
lips.
Just like
I mean, work.
They really worked. They really boost the house sound, say Gaga Queen, yes, hunty.
Are we back in MagFest suddenly? That's what it feels like. Oh my goodness.
That's what it feels like. I thought that it was a fantastic job they did, and I really like the art style. It was kind of different than I think a lot of what's out there, and I kind of liked it. Almost had like a storybook feel a little bit. There's a lot of textures, which I really enjoyed. And I thought it is a very strong contender in the Netflix animated showcase. And probably one of the strongest ones out there. I'd put She-Ra in there. I would put this in there. I haven't finished Castlevania, but I know it has a big following, so I'd put that in there too.
And the whole pussy, apparently.
Oh, pussy. Oh, pussy.
Matthew.
Oh my goodness. So the animation style, at first I wasn't sure what to think about it because I'm not really I haven't seen a lot of like 3D kind of animated shows, as opposed to, classic 2D. I think one of the first kind of more 3D animated things I've seen was the Spider-Verse movie, which I think is more of in that 3D animated. I really enjoyed that. And then one of the more recent shows that I've seen that's also kind of 3D animated, I think is the Dragon Prince, which kind of has like more of a 3D animated feel too, which I enjoyed that as well. But this one, like I watched the first couple episodes, and then when the third episode hit, I was like, oh, this is some good shit. Like this animation style is amazing. And I think I like it better than the Dragon Prince. I don't know if I would have liked it better if it was 2D, but like I'm feeling it in 3D. So I'm live, laugh, loving for it. I'm my whole dick is in it.
Right next to the pussy, apparently.
Wow.
Well, I think I love it. I was a little suspect when I saw the trailer just because I don't like 3D animation usually. Like the Dragon Prince, I like as a show. Because I like the plot, but I don't really like the animation, to be honest. I feel like a lot of times 3D rendered animation can look choppy and sloppy if you don't have the money to pay your animators or to get a good animating company to make it fluid. But thankfully, Riot is loaded, and Riot put its whole pussy, dick, and bank account into this. So
sure did.
When you get into those intense fight scenes, whether it's between Vi and Jinx, closer to the end of the series, or Jinx on the bridge versus that one kid who has the stopwatch. I can't remember his name.
Echo?
Yeah. Which is an amazing fight scene because the other good thing about the show is that the animation style is kind of like, I was thinking of the Spider-Verse film, in that it's almost like mixed media where you have this 3D animation, but there are some stills put into it as well, like during that fight scene with Echo, where you get more of like a two-dimensional artistic, almost like portrait for some scenes, in terms of like if you pause it, it almost looks like a graphic novel. And then, you get what looks like a little bit of like cell shading sort of on top of the 3D animation to give things depth, but it doesn't look cheap because the production quality is very high. So you get like this sort of very vibrant in color and vibrant design world that just was, the art direction is just chef's kiss.
So good.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Like whoever did the art design for, the Undercity and then up top, and how just distinctly different they look.
They really hit it out of the park. I agree about like, especially the budget needed for a well done 3D animation is very high. Pretty good animation, but like there's something so much more cringy about 3D animation, and I never encountered that, which was great.
Yeah, I think I didn't look at any part of the show and was like, that didn't look right, or that was weird. I was like,
yeah.
I just want to be here.
Yeah,
probably not actually, because there's a lot of social unrest. But like I would want to.
You want to be in that animated like version of yourself,
Yes. Yeah. I'd cosplay that type of thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, Vi with those gauntlets. Every time Vi uses those gauntlets, that animation just kills me.
Forget it.
Every time. Every single time.
Yes.
Oh my god, and also, go ahead, Pat.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say also, whenever Jinx is kind of having her like, I guess you could say psychotic episodes, and like the different images are flashing around her. Also, I'm like blown away every single time. I'm like, wow, that is like perfectly done, and it perfectly represents, and it perfectly makes you like feel what Jinx is feeling at that time. And I'm like, yes, please kill me.
It's very much, Jinx was very much in those scenes experiencing like what they do with Harley Quinn in the Batman universe, where sometimes they have these moments of where you see her mental perspective. So you see like things that aren't actually there, but what her mind is kind of portraying to her, like basically physical manifestations of her psychosis. So being able to see all that weird shit that she was seeing obviously makes you empathize with her for why she's acting a fool or acting insane, because she, is a tragic character. But anyway,
anyway,
On to the characters later. First, this series was released as three triplets of episodes. So 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9. Netflix experiments with either like full seasons or half seasons, or sometimes it is weekly episodes. How did you feel about the batches of episodes? Do you think it was good that they did that? Because some people say that if you release a whole season, people binge it really quickly and then it loses momentum. But having weekly releases keeps people engaged for longer. So what do you think?
I didn't mind the weekly releases. I do see the perspective that a show can lose momentum, but I also think that to a degree that it's so big that I don't see it losing momentum if for season two they were to release all episodes at once. I don't see that slowing. I do think it was more a move to compete against Disney, who releases their episodes. I don't know if they do all weekly or in little batches. I forget how
Yeah,
they do the
if you talk
shows.
about the Marvel shows, it's usually weekly. Yeah.
Okay. So I definitely see them trying that out. I enjoyed it. It was fun to kind of, have that to look forward to in for the week and to catch up on it.
Matthew?
Well, listen, we all know that I watched this after it released.
Oh, right. Yeah, you had the whole
Oh,
season.
right. Mm-hmm.
But I will speak generally about shows that, do weekly releases as opposed to like just releasing the whole thing. Now, question about this show, was it released in batches? So it was like these 3 episodes released and then next week the next 3 episodes released. Was that how it was?
I did say that, yes.
Okay, I was just making sure I understood what
Okay,
you were
okay,
saying.
okay, okay. I'm not gonna judge you for that one.
I was just
Yes.
making sure I understood what you were saying because you
It
said
was
weekly, so
three,
I was
three,
like,
and three.
okay.
Three
Um,
every week.
so about that, I think that might be a little bit better because you're not giving them everything at once,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but you are giving people like here's 3 episodes. You could watch them throughout the week. For
Yes.
people like me who can't necessarily watch all of them at once, I could be like, okay,
Mm.
maybe I'll watch one at before bed, and then I could do it the next couple days. I like that. I,
Yeah.
I I think I like that concept, even though I didn't experience it.
I experienced it, and while I did like it, it was every time that ended, I was like,
Yeah. I
I
was
need
like,
my
God
next
damn it.
fix.
Yes, I need
I
my
need it.
next fix. I want it
Um,
now.
but I think it was smart because it did feel like, at least for the first three and the last three, it did feel like those three were self-contained, almost like mini
Mm-hmm.
arcs or mini plots. Because the first three gets you to the present day, like the time skip, basically, and shows you their young childhood and how they ended up where they end up. And then the next three kind of builds on that, and the last three are obviously the big finale. So I kind of liked it. They are working on season two, apparently. I've said this before. I just hope they take their time and that there's
Yes.
no dip in quality. I mean, they have a lot of money, so I don't think the animation is gonna dip. I'm worried about the plot dipping or
Yes.
character development dipping. I want
Mm.
them to take their sweet time. And on that note, let's actually go into the. I guess we can go into the characters first before the plot. So it follows Vi and Jinx, sisters, who, after this is all spoilers, by the way. Spoiler alert. We're going to be talking about the show, obviously.
Listen.
Listen, if you started this and you didn't think we were going to talk about the plot, you
That's on
fool.
you.
Vi and Jinx. Jinx is the younger sister. Vi's the older sister. And after a series of unfortunate events, they get separated. Vi gets thrown in prison. Jinx basically gets taken under the basically mob boss who works the underground or under city. Volko? What's his name?
Vander? Oh, Silco.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, Vander's the other one.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
other guy. Yeah. Silco takes Jinx in, molds her into this sort of like kooky, crazy killing machine assassin. Very Harley Quinn vibes, and Vi's in
Yes.
prison just punching people,
Yep.
punching the wall, punching people. And the sort of like um, real catalyst for the plot, at least, is Caitlin, who is this sort of like beat cop who is, for a while, just on security detail, starts to investigate a very sprawling smuggling slash shady cop slash shady politics deal, and then goes to Vi in prison and goes, "Hey, I need your help," and then the plot moves forward from there. Vi interacts with her sister again, Jinx, and there's, the whole reunion aspect. So those are like the three main characters, I'd say, and there's a ton of supporting characters as well.
I think.
What did you?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say,
No,
what's
go
his
on.
face seemed pretty like main character-ish, right?
Oh
To
yeah,
Jace.
the
Jace.
yeah Jace, the Hammer dude.
the Hammer dude.
Hammer
Yeah,
guy.
I would
Yeah.
I would call
Yeah,
him like
I'm
kind of a
just
main character as well.
yeah, but he's a man. And I
Okay.
love the women.
Okay.
No, fine. Yeah, I think the four real main characters, I think, are Vi, Jinx, Caitlyn, and fine, we could say Jace. I mean, Silco's definitely the main villain, but then, Jinx can also be considered a villain as well. But let's start with those four. Did you like their characterizations in general? You don't have to go into the sprawling details of their plot, obviously, but, what did you think about those four characters? Who was your favorite?
Matt, you can go first. It's freshly watched in your mind.
Okay. Let me think. I would s- I would say my favorite out of the four of them is probably Jinx.
Nice.
Not because she's a good person or anything, obviously, but because I just
Hmm.
like how her character developed. Like in the first triplet, when she was just powder, I completely did not see her devolving into what she became towards the end of the season. Like, you guys messaged me, you were like, oh yeah, you can kind of tell where the seasons are going or like where the episodes are going. And I was like, I did not see any of this coming. I watched the whole thing, did not see a single thing coming throughout that whole thing.
Well,
Um,
oops.
so I really like where they went with it. And you know what? I should have picked it up from the intro, honestly, about what was going to happen. But I didn't.
That's why even the first couple episodes, I actually skipped the intro.
Oh,
Because I
did
know
you?
the intros tend to do that shit where like you can get a sense for what might happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should have picked it up from the animation of, Vi and Jinx going after each other. Although, was that in the intro during the first three? Maybe.
I mean, they were definitely spotlit.
They were in.
Spotlighted.
I don't remember at this point.
I may have to go back and see if the intro was the same because it may have changed in between somewhere. But yeah, I live, laugh, love for Jinx's entire storyline. Like, I loved again, like I said, I love the animation of her kind of like little psychotic breaks, how the people that she killed haunt her.
Yes.
I lived for it. I lived for the whole thing. So yeah, I would say Jinx is my favorite out of the four of them.
The animation on well, this is a spoiler, but yeah, on the brothers' eyes, like how they're like crossed out or like scratched out so you can't see them like comic book style. That is so creepy and so well done.
They killed
So
those
good.
kids.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
killed those kids.
They were not afraid to kill children. They said fuck those kids, and they dropped boulders on them, and
Yeah.
they were
They
crushed.
died.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, they died.
I was gagged.
Well, we can talk about this during the plot. I was shocked. I had a feeling it was coming, but they went for it. Yeah, it was brutal. It was oof.
And I knew Vander was gonna die too. Like, I was like,
Oh yeah.
that was one thing
yeah.
I did see coming. I was like, obviously Vander's gonna die.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
obviously.
Well, I mean, if he's really dead.
Well.
I'm assuming I don't know. I'm assuming he is. Also, what was the relation between Vander and Silco? Were they related? What was the thing there?
They were
weren't-
like besties.
Yeah, they called each other brothers, but they
Mhm.
weren't biologically related.
Right.
Okay. I was trying to piece together what that was.
A little homoeroticism, maybe.
Oh,
Who can
lovers.
say?
We could talk about Jackie. Who is your favorite character, and then we can get into some
girl.
real homoeroticism.
Oh, girl. This will probably come as no surprise. I think my favorite character is probably Vi.
I never would have guessed that. I am so shocked.
You wouldn't have, for me sitting here in my flannel button-up, you wouldn't have guessed that was going to be my favorite character.
Oh
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone knows I love a good, strong female character, main character, and she was serving. Fighting with her fists. That's one of the things I often bring up in media in general, is that when you have a female character, a lot of times they will not give the female a weapon. Like in She-Ra, I kind of picked on this a bit too. I think it was She-Ra. there's no like whip, there's no quote girl weapon that she's fighting with. She's fucking brawling with her
Oh
fists.
yeah, she
With
Yeah,
punching
like
out.
mecha fist gauntlets. It does not
yeah.
get any closer or any grittier than that. And I was 100% there for it.
Hmm.
I thought she was written really well. Haley Steinfeld
Uh,
just
put her whole pussy in it. Put her
whole
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 pussy in
pussy
that.
into it, into the voice acting. It was phenomenal. But I'm actually just reminding myself too that a close second favorite character was the other female lead cop. Also,
Oh,
I love
yeah.
Caitlyn for like stuff that's happening there. That's cute.
I was so
But
sad that she died
I
so
was so
early.
sad, Grayson, that she died. Her voice actress,
Oh, I
Showra
love her voice actress.
Hmm.
Agdashlu, her voice acting is just phenomenal, and I thought that character was so uniquely portrayed and was fantastic. I was very sad when she died.
Yeah, that actress has such a gravelly
Oh,
yet
it's
sultry, deep
yes,
Mm.
voice.
yes,
Like
That good ASMR.
either she like smoked 10 packs a day for
yes.
a decade, or that's just her. I don't know what happened, but I'm like, that's good. That's good content anyway. I think my favorite character is probably Vi for very similar reasons. She's the protagonist, and she just wants to. You know what? She, for the most part, doesn't even care about the real like uh, bad guy versus good guy thing. She just wants to save her sister at the end of the day.
Yes.
Like she
Yep.
doesn't really care about what
The
Silco is
politics,
doing.
or
She doesn't
yes,
care about
Mm.
Jace. She's like, I'm gonna just get what I need to get so I can just save my sister, and that's it because of how bad she feels for sort of abandoning her as a youth.
I don't agree with you. I don't think that she didn't care what Silco was doing. I think she cared a lot about the people that were in the Undercity, and Silco was definitely doing shit that made things
I
not good
think
for them.
I think by the end she definitely did, but I think when Caitlyn first gets her out of prison, she explicitly says, "I'm just here for my sister."
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, oh yeah.
Once Caitlyn finds out that they're related, because at first Caitlyn doesn't know that Jinx and Vi are related. Once she finds out, Caitlyn's or Vi's like, "Yeah, I was just here for her." Like during that whole scene where Jinx puts the flare up and then Vi finds her,
Yes.
but then she's kidnapped by the what do they call it, the Fireflies or whatever?
Yes.
The
Yep.
guys
Right.
in the hoverboard. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think she does at the end, obviously, because she probably realizes that Jinx is now in like major cahoots with Silco, past anything that she thought, and B, it does have repercussions beyond her sister, obviously, like the rest of the people in the Undercity or Zon, whatever, the nation of Zon.
Oh
Is that what they
yes, the
call
Nation
it?
of, I think it's Zon. I thought it was a
Yeah,
good way. I think they described that migration, like that focus, really well, and how it shifted to become a lot more macro versus the micro
Speaking
interests.
of Caitlyn and Vi,
Oh,
lesbians.
wow,
I
wow.
Hundo,
think
hundo percent.
I think this
Ooh,
was done so well because it is never explicitly stated their orientations.
no.
And which starts, it's great because it starts as like a little flirtation in that whorehouse,
Yeah.
and she like pushes up against the wall. She's like, "What do you gotta." Basically, she's like, just pick man or woman. And then she looks later, and it looks like
Yes.
Caitlyn is talking to another woman
Yes.
in the whorehouse. And I'm like,
I do
Hmm.
remember that,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then as their relationship progresses, it gets more and more flirty. And then there's that scene in the rain when Vi is like leaving, and
Yes.
Caitlyn's trying to tell her to stay and help, but Vi's like, no, I gotta go. And I was like, make out in the
Yes.
rain.
Just
I remember just
kiss.
texting Pat in all caps
Yeah,
what was happening.
screaming. I just think it was so because it wasn't like because we talk about all types of representation here,
Mhm.
and we need all types of representation, and this sort of representation isn't found because A, it's in an animated series, B, it's between two women, which I feel like there's a lot more male dominated relationships, male on
There is,
male,
yeah.
than
Mhm.
female on female, and a or a C, it's between a main character and another main character, so it's at the forefront. And D, it's not something that they harp on in terms of like how scandalous it is that these people could love each other or that it's like against societal norms. It's very much just these two people meet. naturally just start flirting with each other, and by the end of it, there's clearly some emotional connection between them. And it didn't feel like queer baiting. It felt very natural, and I just wanted them. And when that scene when like Caitlin's in the shower and like she gets
Oh
kidnapped, and
yeah.
I'm like, why wasn't Vi there to just finger blast her in the shower?
Oh my
Yeah.
god, the scene when they're in the bed and they're kind of
Oh yeah, I was
looking
like,
at each other.
roll over, roll over. So
Yes.
what
Let's
did
just
you
like blow their
two?
backs out.
Okay, what did you two think of the queer narrative that I think is pretty? It's very obvious. I feel like I don't feel like it's queer coded. I feel like it's very explicit that these two people like each other. How did you think it panned out?
In For me, until that scene in the rain that you mentioned, when they said, I think one of them says, I think it's Caitlin, what about our feelings for each other? It's explicitly said then. Up until then, I was just hoping. Like it was
Right.
like it was
Please.
coded.
Please.
Like it was coded there. Like all the pieces were there, but I was just waiting and praying and waiting and praying and screaming and texting Pat to just please bring this into like canon. Please make it
Yeah.
canon. Please make it out in the open, whatever. And I was 100% pleased with how they did it. I think like the first time they met when Vi calls Caitlyn Cupcake, it was over. It was
Over.
over. It was
Over.
over
You
for
could
me.
hear like 18 lesbians just getting wet.
Oh yeah, it's just like
18
over.
naked lesbians.
18 naked cowboys. 18 naked lesbians.
Matt, what did you think?
I loved it. I lived, laughed, loved it. I think I first started putting it together, basically when they laid in the bed and they were like kind of like 69ing, but not the sexual way, but like how they were oriented.
I
I'm
actually
just
didn't remember
saying.
that, but okay.
I thought
They
it
were
was
oriented like 69ing, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, work. I mean, lips
We
to
know the
lip.
details you pay attention to, I guess.
I was there. I was like, here we go. Here we go. And they were like talking about something, but it was almost like, you could tell that they were like lovingly looking at each other. And I was like, oh, this is
yeah.
lesbian.
Lesbian in my
Lesbian?
In my animated show, it's more common than you think. Oh, yes, they were kind of laying that way.
Yeah.
Jackie actually has the whole like clip of it in like a folder. The spank bank.
But yeah,
like,
then
it's just titled like
I'm confirming or denying.
the folder's just like labeled, I don't know, like fantasy.
It's labeled D&D stuff, actually.
yeah, no one's gonna look in there.
The true cover.
my lesbian
yeah.
fantasies. What? No.
That would actually be the funniest.
Did you have anything else to add, Matt?
No. And then obviously there was the rain part where I was like, here we go. Tell me. And I think the quote was like, what about us? Or something like that. And I was like, oh, they went for it. It wasn't just coded. Like, here we are. They dove in. And then, again, I don't think they explicitly made it super clear that they were together. But, like, obviously, they were together.
Something was brewing.
Something was there. Maybe it's not
Yeah.
official yet, but, like, we know that they love each other.
They got feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to add to it. It's not necessarily in the about Caitlyn and Vi, but it does directly impact the relationship. Was the portrayal of friendship with Jace between Caitlyn and Jace? I thought that was really, really wholesome. And the whole time I was like rooting for them to just be friends.
Yeah.
And before Vi came into the picture. And I was really pleased when that was basically confirmed, when he was just strictly a friend. I thought it was done fantastic. And I think it should be normalized to give your fucking friends flowers, especially in the scenario where we have like different sexualities and orientations being represented.
You know what? That's
normalize that.
That's so interesting that you bring that up. Like, at no point in the show did I think that, what's her name, Caitlyn and Chase were gonna be together. Like, I didn't pick up that vibe anywhere.
I didn't have the vibe.
But you were worried.
That they were. Yes, I didn't have the vibe that they were interested in each other. But I mean, it's like American media. You could have a male 30 feet across from a woman, and
Right.
somehow
Somehow they fuck.
they end up together. Yeah, somehow they fuck. And it's like, what?
Yeah, I
When?
think
Where was the tension there?
it could have been very easy for the writers to be like, let's put
Yes.
them together. They're childhood friends. They're always together.
Well, they're childhood friends, and he gave her flowers. Therefore, he's courting her. Yeah.
So those are like the four main characters. I was wondering, did any of you have any other characters that you liked? You know, just honorable mentions or side characters that you liked.
Echo could leave me for
Echo,
dead.
yeah.
I mean, you're right. He honestly could. That
Echo could
man,
leave
that
you for
man's
dead.
glow up from that little
Gorgeous,
tiny boy to the man he became.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't honestly, I don't know
Yeah.
if he's of age technically, but also it's an animated fictitious world.
Yes, so yeah.
That's,
can make
yes.
them
If he
different.
was of
Yeah.
age, he could leave me for dead. Just
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mentioned Detective Grayson. I think she was great.
Hmm.
I'm just looking through the other characters.
I loved Victor, the scientist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And I was kind of like Victor and Jace.
Oh,
could fuck, and I'd
Yes.
watch.
Yes.
I'd watch, and I'd do stuff to myself while watching.
Oh.
And I think Victor had a really good arc outside of the main characters because, you know, Victor and Jace sort of vacillate. Well, Jace really vacillates between doing science for science sake and, you know, doing science to sort of further his political agenda as he becomes a politician.
Mhm.
And, you know, basically at the beginning, Jace is like, oh, Victor, we should like use this magic science mixture to help people's lives. And by the end of it, he's like, no, we have to make weapons to protect ourselves and shit like that. While Victor kind of stays purely a scientist, which in the end does not really help him because he starts messing with magic that he can't control. He ends up obliterating a lab tech, which just goes to show you how they're cared for in a real lab setting. That was accurate. The little research girl, obliterated.
Done. Left for dead.
And she clearly maybe had a crush on him or something, you know, because, you know, she wrote down all that stuff for him, doing side research for him, you know, on something, and he obliterates her, and he is so messed up about it. But by the end, he's definitely changed physically by the whatever he was messing with. I don't know.
He almost jumps off that balcony until he gets interrupted.
Oh, yeah, he thinks about ending his, like, he's very conflicted. You know, he obviously has a debilitating terminal illness, which maybe he no longer is terminal due to his magic. Who knows? Maybe in season 2 we'll find out exactly the extent of it. But I do know that he is a character in League of Legends, and I do know his sort of character description, so I have an idea of where it might go, but no spoilers here. No spoilers here.
I just wanted to mention Ambassador, I think her name is Mel. Ambassador Mel, really quickly, too. She was a character who in the beginning I really didn't trust her, and I wasn't sure what was happening. I still don't really trust her, but I think that she's become a lot more kind of transparent.
Is that the one Jace fucked?
Yes. Yeah, she's the one councilwoman where, like, her warlord mother comes at the end.
Right.
Yeah.
The warlord mother who has that twink on retainer.
Yes.
She has that twink on retainer.
Yes.
She went there and was like, you guys, goes to her daughter's, like, country and is like, you're gonna serve me and you're gonna serve me up some fresh ass. Mm-hmm. Send me the young nubile twink to eat me out.
Yep. She did do that.
She's a bitch, and I love it.
She's a bitch, and I love her.
It's a power move. Power move.
It was such a... And then didn't she, like, just stand naked in front of Jace?
Oh, she's
for a while, too?
She's like, here's my unkempt bush. What are you going to do about it?
No one ever said... No one ever... We are not making assumptions.
No. Listen, I think... First of all, I think a woman who's that confident... And I don't even think... Listen, I don't care about body hair. So even me, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's my bush.
Oh, okay.
That's my bush. There it is.
Like, okay, she can be perfectly waxed too. It doesn't matter. Like, but she's like, this is
whatever
my labia.
She's just like, here it is.
These are my labias. Look at them.
Look at my lips.
No, he's down here.
No, your eyes are down there. Yeah,
down there. Yeah, bring your eyes down. I thought she was written really, really well, and she did have that twink on retainer, and she just gives no fucks. And then the ambassador was also written really well, and I think she was set up well as a character to learn more about personally in season 2. I kind of liked
If
how
he
they
survives.
if she's wait, what?
Mm.
Where did she leave off? Oh, didn't the tower explode?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
But
she'll
we don't know
survive.
who's gonna live or die. Can we speculate?
But yeah, at the end we
Oh,
can
we should.
speculate. But
Yeah.
let's talk
Okay.
about the plot because that's the most important. Well, not the most important bit, but that's like the main bit. So the plot of the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of gave a little bit before, but like, what did you think? I mean, what did you think overall? Do you think it was like well written, well paced? It's very much a political drama slash, corruption slash. Of course, League is a fighting game, so there were some brilliant fight scenes, so we could talk about a little bit later. But what do you think about the plot overall?
Matt, you want to go
Um.
first?
Sure. I'll talk. So I will say this was one of those shows where you gotta watch like the first 2 episodes first to like you just gotta get through them, and then third episode, bam, it starts getting really good, right? So, and my opinion on a lot of forms of media, like you gotta catch attention really quickly, in order to get people into the show faster.
Mhm.
And there's shows like Game of Thrones that do this too. Like, you just gotta watch like the first season. You just gotta get through it before the end of season 1 when it starts getting really good. I I feel like this was another one of those shows where you have to watch the first couple episodes first. Um, I feel like that first triplet could have been paced maybe a little bit differently, but then the rest of it was just like, bang, 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 all good
Mm-hmm.
shit, all action, all immediately. Yes, you have to have your setup, to set up the world and, build on that. Um, I just think it should have been get to the action quicker, right? Like something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Okay.
can see that. I would
Jackie.
I would be inclined to agree that the pacing of the first 3 episodes was a little bit slow, and I didn't quite see where it was going until maybe like at least where that chunk was going until like the second episode. I think my it's not really a critique necessarily. I found the plot line to be pretty straightforward and a bit predictable, but I didn't find that it detracted from my overall enjoyment of the show. It was really well written enough, and the characters were strong enough, the voice acting was strong enough, and the art was just fantastic enough to uh, just sweep it all along and really keep it moving to create a really powerful storyline.
Yeah. I think, you know, yeah, those first 2 episodes were, in terms of plot development, not so much about plot development, more about just introducing
Mhm.
and giving you like some contextual backstory for obviously later
Yeah, it's
on.
world building. Like, you gotta
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
do your exposition world building.
I feel like with shows that are short, whether they're short in episode count or short in actual duration of each episode, it's kind of fine to do that. You know, it's when you get these like 20 something episode seasons or 18 episode seasons and you've got the first 4 or 5 where it's not much like propelling the plot forward. I think that's where you get like, oh my god, we get it. Like she's terrible at what she
He's
does, or like,
gay.
Yeah.
yeah,
We get
She's
it.
they're
gay.
blind. I mean, he's gay. I
I
mean,
Yeah,
he's
he's
blind.
gay.
But yeah, I think the plot. Yeah, it was. I wasn't like surprised at certain things.
Hmm.
I will say though, the things that really got me, or even surprised me a little bit, were the fight scenes and fight choreography. So
Yeah.
League is a fighting game, obviously. Now this show like doesn't shot for shot remake how the game works, obviously, because League is a MOBA, massive online battle arena, whatever the fuck it means, and uh, you know, it's pretty much point and click, where this was a lot more fluid. So, did you have a favorite fight scene? Who was
Ooh.
involved, and why was your favorite fight scene? Because there were so many good ones in my opinion, but I know which is my favorite. So, who wants to go first? Well, I can
Hmm.
go first, and you guys want to
I
think
was
about it. I
gonna
can go
say
first.
you go first because I need
Yeah,
to think
go
about it.
Pat.
All right. So it was Vi versus Sevica in the
Hmm.
bar.
That
Very
was
good one. Very good one.
So
good.
you've got Vi with her gauntlets, her gloves. You got Sevica with her robotic arm, basically. And you've got these two women, two
Women?
women, the protagonist and antagonist. And Sevica, by that point in the show, you already know she's a bad bitch. You know, she's killing people left and right. She's physically huge. She's brawny, and It's so great because you get the record drop, which is an homage to like the opening of the show, where you always see the record drop. You have like a really good music, really good song playing, I should say, and you have these two women beating the absolute shit out of each other, and it's great because like the beginning, like you see Vi like walking to the bar, then it cuts to inside the bar, you can kind of see something's going on outside. It cuts back out, and then she's destroyed whatever was outside guarding the bar. She walks in, everyone kind of peels out, and it's just her and Sevica. And she's like, this was their rematch, basically. And she's like, we're doing this, we're doing this. And they just proceed to beat the other shit at each other. She loses a gauntlet. They, I think Sevica, her arm gets all fucked up at one point, gets
Yeah.
thrown
I'm
around.
pretty sure it gets severed. Like
Yeah,
the
Oh
arm is
yeah,
taken
she cuts
off.
off her arm. Yeah.
like she is they're both fucked up, like they're brutal, just
Yes.
brutal. Like Vi is grabbing tables and just chucking them with her gauntlets at her. She's cutting through them with her sword arm. I mean, the Echo Jinx fight is a close second, just for how well it was done in terms of the animation style, but this is my favorite.
I will say that fight, the Vi Sevica fight, I was really torn in my thinking about it. That's probably my second favorite. My first favorite being Echo and Jinx on the bridge.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Mm.
I just love how it was first done all in like slow motion as they kind of go back and forth between the past and the present, showing them as kids, kind of practicing with a paintball gun, and then them
Yes.
like it being actual bullets and like actual fighting. And then go rewinding it kind of and then doing it all fast forward. I just thought that was so cool, so awesome, and emotional because like you understand that these two were friends back in the day when they were kids, and now they're fighting as enemies, and I was like, whew.
Real quick
uh,
though, did you clock the time travel?
did I what?
Echo in the game has an ability like Tracer to rewind time. So
Oh.
the shots you get, because he like swings his clock around, his hand watch, whatever, pocket watch. So the shots you see of the beginning of the fight, where Jinx is shooting at him and he's shooting back or whatever, and it's flashing between them as kids and them as adults. It could be either great animation and just like art, or it could be seen as that's Echo playing through the first scenario of this fight and then rewinding time and knowing how it goes, and that's why he's able to get close enough to her to beat her up.
That makes a lot of
Oh.
sense.
I
So
did
I didn't
not clock
know.
it. No, I did not
Yeah,
clock it that
the
way.
only
I
reason
didn't
I know
either.
that is because Kel and I are watching. He's like, he's the guy that time travels, and I'm like, ooh. So we don't know if he has that ability yet because he just has a pocket watch because I think it was like his parents or some shit. So it might not have been that, but the artists were definitely paying homage to that ability through the art, which is 10 out of 10. But just
It was fantastic.
Even not knowing about that ability, 10 out of
Yeah,
10.
it
10 out
was
of
so
10
good.
still.
chef's kiss, chef's kiss.
That scene in particular, with it flashing back to when they were kids, reminded me a lot. And I'm not going to give the actual spoiler, but if there's any Chainsaw Man readers out there, it reminded me of a very specific scene from Chainsaw Man. And I
Mm.
thought it was really well done.
Another story where they're not afraid to just straight up kill people.
Oh,
Oh.
just butcher. Just butcher. Dead. Left for
So
dead.
Jackie, what was your favorite?
My favorite, I would say my favorite is probably also the bar scene between Vi and what's her name. I don't normally like campy humor in serious scenes, especially something like a fight scene, but there were a couple, I guess, campy moments in that fight scene. And I did really enjoy them, like moments of brevity or lightness. I think they're both like sitting down, just like breathing at one point.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really fantastic piece of animation. Um, if I were to pick a non or like another scene that I think is worth talking about is the really badass scene with Jason Vi when
Hmm.
they're fighting with like the hammer. I thought that was really cool and well done.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
also
and he just
really
kills
brutal.
somebody. He kills
He
a
kills a
child.
kid. He kills a child.
Yeah, and
He
that's when
kills a
he
child.
that's when he has to have his moment of, oh God, what have I
Yes. What
done?
have I done? Yeah. Um, plot wise and like story wise, I thought that was really cool. Not cool, but
I fuck those
Cool.
kids.
I
Child
just
dying.
thought those. That was a great tie-in because that kid turned out to be one of the crime bosses, kids are,
Child.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so it was a cool scene, but I would say personally, what really warms my heart is that bar scene.
That
Yeah.
bar scene was good. It was
Mm.
lit.
Chef's kiss.
Um,
Chef's kiss.
so as we're getting close to the end of the episode, because we have been going for a while, before we get into our speculation on season 2, give you time to just say anything you want about the show that we haven't talked about.
Hmm.
Anything you
Hmm.
like, any other characters, scenes, moments, story arcs, anything you want to say? Heimerdinger was cute, right? Loved
Oh,
Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger, he was
I was
adorable.
Pat. That's what I was gonna bring up. I'd be like,
Twins,
yeah,
same
the
brain.
little professor like little guy. I liked him.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I think he had a good arc. What'd you think,
He had a really good arc.
That's it
Matt?
though.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
That's what I
Well,
was gonna
there you
say.
go.
okay.
All right,
I
Jackie.
will say I was afraid that they were gonna I was really afraid for his life. I was like,
Hmm.
Heimerdinger, he's at
Dead.
risk. He's just gonna be dead.
Mm,
I thought he had a very sweet arc. I really liked him finding the Fireflies hideout and finding Echo. It kind of felt like he was, returning to a place where he belonged. I thought it was so sad when they ousted him.
When they got rid of him, they voted him
Yes, I was
out.
like, that was very savage,
yeah, yeah.
and very cold. Yeah, I liked him.
Oh my god,
I liked all of them.
can I talk about the unity on that council though? Like
Oh.
they were fighting with each other, yes, but then most of the time they all seem to vote for the same thing. Like imagine if American politics was like that.
Can you imagine?
And people all just
Shit was
agreed to
moving
do
down.
things like
Yeah.
Well, you have to remember that the timeline is that prior to this, what's the
The
what's the city?
gates.
Yeah, the
Oh,
gates.
oh,
What's the
oh.
city's name again?
Tover? Piltover?
Piltover. Yeah, prior to
Yeah.
Piltover being the sort of metropolis, there was this big war with magic. So I think that
yeah.
after a calamitous event, you do get people sort of agreeing just to make sure that shit don't happen again, which is part of the reason why Heimerdinger was so obstinate about messing with any sort of magic, which is why he didn't like Jace and Victor doing it. But yeah, I mean, imagine a council that like votes yes or no together.
Right. They
Right?
all vote together on the same thing.
Sickening.
What?
Wow.
Sickening. It's amazing.
Wow.
So I think the thing I'd want to mention besides that is literally the last episode, the end. I think that whole you two might not get this reference. If you do, great. Jinx brings Silco, Vi, Caitlyn together at this sort of family table thing.
Oh,
Mm,
yes.
And it's
Yes.
giving
that was
big Batman death in the family vibe or death of the family vibes. It was
Oh.
a comic in the Snyder Capullo run where basically Joker gets the entire Bat family at a dinner table together, and he at one point makes you believe he peeled off all their faces. It's because Joker didn't have his face on. It's the whole thing, but it was giving very big homage to that. So I don't know if that was like because Jinx being such like a Harley Quinn character, I didn't know if that was like an homage or reference. But if it was,
mm.
gagging.
Wow.
But that whole last episode, that whole last bit where Vi is trying to get her sister to see Powder, Silco wants her to see Jinx, Caitlyn's just there like, why am I here?
Yep, yep.
And I was so worried because I was like, because at that point I'm like, Jinx really could just kill all three people. Like Jinx
Yes.
could kill all of them, and I
Yeah.
would
Oh,
be like, that's in line with their
I thought
character.
Caitlyn was
Yes.
dead. I
I
thought she
thought
was gonna be
Caitlyn
left
was
for
dead
dead.
too. I was
And
like, oh
then
no, oh no.
the ending where Jinx uses so that rocket is her ult in League of Legends. Apparently, that's what Kel tells me. I don't know anything about it, but just that sequence of her shooting it arcing towards the tower, like Jinx not only chooses to be Jinx still, but then it's like I'm gonna go the extra mile.
Yep.
Silco was a coward. I'm gonna kill the entire council one shot, presumably. And it's just so beautifully animated. Vi just sees the complete decimation of her sister. Powder found dead.
Yep.
You know Powder, little
You
girl
powder.
from the Undercity. Well, she was found dead last weekend at the table. Jinx killed her.
Jinx
So
murdered her.
Jinx murdered her. So I think that ending really did slap. So if we want to talk about speculation for season 2, this is where it happens.
That scene. It's funny that you mentioned Batman. I can definitely see the Harley Quinn connection there. The dinner table scene gave me big Alice in Wonderland vibes.
Oh.
It was just you have like a lot of like trippy, like quote unquote trippiness in the form of, like a mental psychosis. The big long table, the
Yeah.
plushies. I was like, ooh, this
Yeah.
is interesting. Okay.
Down the rabbit hole, honey.
Down the rabbit hole to kill Powder. Left for
Yeah.
Left for
Dead.
Dead.
So I think Jace is probably still alive.
Yeah, I think
Oh, I think so.
Jace and
And
maybe Mel.
maybe Mel.
I think so.
I think the
But
mom, Caitlin's mom, is dead.
Dead.
dead. And that's gonna further Caitlyn into just not wanting Jinx alive. Like,
Yeah.
dead.
It's gonna
Yeah.
further divide that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And that's gonna really make their relationship. Oh, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be such good writing of like tormenting people. Will they get together? Will Jinx come between them? Oh, I can't wait.
Oh,
I
and
can't
will Jinx like take over Silco's like position in like that, I guess, organization? Will the people
I don't
listen to
think
her?
so. I think she's too unstable. I think the person who will take over is the arm.
Oh,
Sepica?
Arm Lady?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think she's got some pull.
I think Jinx will definitely make people listen to her if she wants to.
Yep.
Like if she has that motivation, she'll be like, "I'll kill all you."
Yep.
Unless you listen to me, and they'll be like, "Prove it," and then she'll
Okay.
kill one of them, and they're like, "Oh,
Oh,
You're
okay.
You're right.
oh."
I'm curious to see if she has the vision to lead and rally people, but
Well,
I
Yeah,
agree
'cause,
with
like,
Pat. She has the firepower.
Yeah, now that she's killed Silco, like, and obviously she feels bad about killing Silco, maybe she's like wants to continue his legacy after that, is what I'm thinking.
oh my god, right. The Silco Jinx dynamic of like a father and daughter.
Yes.
Mhm.
And how at the end when she kills him, he says something like, "I would have never asked you to change and I would have never betrayed you."
Yes.
Now, Silco's a bad guy. Obviously. Jinx's
Right.
behavior makes her a bad character, but Silco, in my opinion, genuinely loves Jinx.
Yeah.
And genuinely feels like a father figure to her. And when you have Vi, who you're supposed to root for as the protagonist, saying, like, you should change back to who you were, Powder, and Silco going, you don't have to change for me, I'm going to love you no matter what, it's very hard not to vibe with that, especially as, like, a queer person. Like, you're being told by someone that you could be exactly who you want to be, and I'll still love you. God's plan. And then
God's
you have
plan.
someone, your family member, going, oh, you should change back to who you used to be. I was like, okay.
I was not convinced of Silco's love for Powder until I think the moment is he's like sitting at the statue of Vander. Something he like goes and he's like talking to the statue of Vander, and he is like, he says something along the lines of raising girls is really hard.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was just like, okay, he really truly does love and thinks of Powder, Jinx, as his daughter.
The amount of trust you have to let her, this crazy psychotic bitch, stab you in the eye.
Yes.
Oh my god.
God's plan.
And then she stabs him in the face a couple times first.
Oh, yep.
Oh yeah, she's like, yeah.
Well, that's for saying that.
Oh boy.
All right, well.
Any other parting
final
thoughts?
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
Season 2 stuff.
Hopefully they take their time.
Do you think Jace is going to become a villain?
I think after the entire council dies, except for him and perhaps, you know what? Maybe Mel does die, which furthers his hatred of Jinx and the Undercity, and that's how the war starts.
Yeah, and if Mel dies, her mom's gonna be pissed because her mom wanted her back.
Yep, her mom wanted her
because
back
her brother died.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then Jace and the mom work together to start the war.
They could, or Jace and Mel, if she's alive, could become some kind of like dictator.
Power couple.
Yes, power couple ruling the city.
And she'll be like, he can take that big hammer.
And do what with
Right in
it?
this little garage.
Oh, okay.
Right in the silver garage.
Meow.
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 Yeah, that's
All right,
it.
when we devolve into Carl Weezer, that's when it's time to end
That's
the
when you
episode.
know, yeah.
That's when you know it's time. So thank you, everybody, for watching / listening to this episode of the What Did the Gays Think podcast. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at WDTGT Podcast for updates on when we post new episodes and for some fun memes and other content and stuff like that. If you like games, we do stream on Twitch at What Did the Gamers
games.
Think. You got games on your phone? GAYMERS, What Did the Gamers Think? Our current schedule is Monday and Thursdays at around 8:30 U.S. Eastern Time. Jackie also streams. Jackie, you want to plug your Twitch?
Yeah, I stream at Twitch at Jackie_the_bananas. You can catch me a lot of times with Matt and Pat on Monday and Thursdays around 8:30 p.m. and also occasional solo streams.
Yes, and also
We have a new Twitter follower.
okay. Anyway, just interrupt
This is not a bit, I promise.
Just interrupt my goddamn outro to tell us that. Thank you.
Just for that. Jesus Christ.
Jackie's Twitter is also king_Jaqueen, JAKWEEN. We also have merch on Redbubble if you want to show your support. It's in the link in the description. And we also have a community's Discord server called Pride Empire. The link to that is also in the description of the episode or the YouTube description, etc. Go ahead and join that. Hang out with us outside of the podcast, and you can chat with us there.
Yes.
So thanks everybody, and I am Matt Klubeck.
And I am getting finger blasted by Vi in the shower with Caitlin.
Wow. Okay. And I am post time skip Vi.
You really are.
Yeah.
Pegging that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Caitlin's like, all right, Vi, come to bed. And Vi walks over and she's like, no, bring the gauntlets, bring the gloves.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, no,
goodbye.
I want the gloves.
Goodbye.
Bye.